Guys, I woke up this morning and I thought to myself, the BMW has rain mode. This S1000RR over here, which, by the way, giveaway motorcycle, in case you missed it. YamiNoob.co. Hit that link down below. You already know what to do, okay? Seriously, carbon wheels, it's amazing. Anyways, this motorcycle has rain mode, and it just so happens that today it's kind of rainy, kind of crappy, kind of not so nice outside. So I thought, let's take this bike out, put it in rain mode, and let's try to determine if people have any merit in the idea that, oh yeah, you can just take a superbike, put it in rain mode, and it's like a 600. It's like a beginner bike. I hear this all the time. So I wanted to test it on this bike today because it's a 207 horsepower motorcycle. I have plenty of experience with top-of-the-line fast bikes. I've got a Turbo Busa that isn't working but used to work. R1s, V4Rs. I've ridden lots of fast things. Famously took an H2 at the mile event and did 211 miles an hour with it. So I know the fast stuff. And this BMW is quite fast, quite zesty. We'll take a listen to it. Very nice. All right, should be simple. We'll hit the modes here. Look at that, rain mode. Let's see what it does. Okay, it looks like I can still rev out to redline. I bet it's going to massively neuter the power. So let's see if this is as safe as people say it is for the inexperienced, the entry-level rider. Which, come on, if you're entry-level, do not get an S1000RR. That's a terrible idea. What happens if I just whack the throttle? Okay, it still jumps pretty good. So it's not like idiot mode or something like that. This thing will still bite you pretty good if you just whack the throttle open. Let's see here, just kind of... Yeah, it's... I think what it'll do is it'll manage actual horsepower output, not just low-end whack the throttle torque. I don't think it can control for complete rider idiocy like that. Take the left here. Ooh, almost stalled it. I don't know if that's a rain mode thing, but definitely almost stalled it. This bike has hill hold control, so sometimes when you pull off the light, it's a little challenging. Oh, look at that. We have a ridiculous amount of traffic. Let's do this. Let's just go ahead and do this. Riding the shoulder, and we're good to go. Okay, so second gear. Jeez, that's rain mode? That's still pretty damn fast. That straight up feels like a 600. So guys, if you're thinking rain mode's gonna make this thing a total puppy dog, I hate to break it to you, but my immediate impression is no, that does not work like that at all. That, above 8 grand, that pulled straight up like an R6, which I kind of expected, but it still surprised me a little bit. Let's just, we'll drop it down in a second here. I think what it's doing, because I noticed that when I full pin it, it kind of waits and it's like, are you sure? And then it's like, well, I guess there's traction. He's going in a straight line, so screw it, give him the power. So maybe it's like a dynamic or an adaptive traction control and rain control system. Not rain control, it's not powered by the gods, is it? I know this motorcycle may seem like it was built by the gods, but yeah, it can't control the weather. But I think like mid-corner probably controls it a lot for slip, and maybe when it feels like there's no slip, it's like, well, screw it, just if you're asking for full power, we'll give you full power. Because that definitely feels like what it's doing. That's fascinating. This is totally different than what I thought it would be like. This is my first time putting this bike in rain mode, because I've pretty much just had it in sport or road mode the entire time I've owned it, and I've put 400 miles on it. Let's see third gear here, winding it out a little bit. Make sure we got open. Get ahead of this guy, yeah. Okay, if that's rain mode, that's insane. That's still a ton of power. So if you buy this bike and you think that you're going to put it in rain mode and it's going to be all nice and chill and happy, this thing's still an animal in rain mode. I don't see that at all. It's still a 200 horsepower liter bike. You can put it in whatever mode you want to put it in. If you don't want a bike that's this fast, don't buy this bike. That's ridiculous. It's interesting because the R1 has, I believe it's D mode, which is their equivalent to rain mode. It's their low power setting. It feels nothing like this. It feels so neutered and controlled and simple, and it like, whenever you get it up to the top end, you can tell it's just like giving you like 30% throttle max. This thing straight up feels like an R6 or faster in rain mode. So yeah, that was shocking. What I'm curious about though is, what does it do like low speed in the revs? You know, like, is this the type of thing where I can just add some gas and it won't do much, or what's it gonna do? Now keep in mind, these systems, rain modes and, you know, traction control, they are there to help you. They will not save you from completely idiot riding. So if I were to have 100% throttle and try to tip in here like it's Ride 5 the video game, I will die. This bike doesn't have an anti-death setting, okay? You still have to know what you're doing. I think sometimes new riders get in their head that because the bike has, you know, ABS and linked brakes and TC, they're like, oh man, it's gonna be so safe and it'll do whatever I need it to do. It's like, yeah, to a point. Eventually it will bite you back because it's still a motorcycle, it's still on two wheels, and it will still slide out. It's gonna do everything it can to prevent it, but it will. Now, what I'm noticing here is low down in the throttle pull, the first, like, I would say 5 to 30%, it's being very gentle, especially when I'm adding lean. And this motorcycle obviously does have a 6-axis IMU, advanced TC, all that good stuff. And I'm noticing that it's being super gentle when I go through it like this. Like, I'm adding a little lean, adding the throttle, jumping over speed bumps. It seems to be like, okay, like, you know, let's make sure that you don't kill yourself with the low speed stuff. Which, again, granted, you know, in this bike's defense, if you're going perfectly straight, you know, going completely straight, adding a bunch of gas, the motorcycle has to assume that you know that it's clear and it's gonna give you power, I guess. Like, it's not a complete power sapping system, but right here it's being super gentle with me. Like, I'm going through these corners, I'm adding gas like I would want to, and it's being very, very gentle with the throttle. Let's go up here on these twisties and see what it does. Okay, we're in rain mode. We're gonna pretend like we're gonna go attack the twisties. This is already really fast for, I mean, it's still a leader bike, dude. Like, it's not gonna be slow. Wet conditions, slippery conditions, we're in rain mode. You can still get in a ton of trouble with this if you don't know what you're doing. Like, yes, it's being very gentle on the initial throttle pickup. I'm noticing that. I can really feel that the first 5 to 20%, it's being very gentle with me. It's kind of telling me, hey, like, let's take it easy, you know, there's tar snakes, there's lack of wet weather. Look at that, there's a freaking river right here. Adventure crossing. It's a GS now. But you still got to bring your A game, man. It's a leader bike and it wants to go fast. But it's fascinating that this rain mode allows it a little bit of, you know, a little bit more leeway. But if you get too greedy with the throttle, you're still going to get hurt on this thing. Cruising. It definitely is doing something with the lean angle on it, though, for sure. I can sense that. Let's light it up here. What does it do? That's fascinating. Yeah, between 5 to 8,000, it waits, and it's like, are you sure? It's kind of like, okay, if you're asking for full gas and you're pointed straight, I'm just gonna give it to you. X gonna give it to you. That's what the BMW S1000RR says. X gonna deliver it to you. Because look, you go off the apex, it waits a long time to make sure you're pointed and then gives you gas. That's so interesting. I mean, that is safe, right? Like, That's where you're gonna lose grip from a greedy throttle hand, is low down in the revs, off in apex, you just whack it wide open. That's what the BMW is gonna do. It's gonna protect you a little bit. But again, not a foolproof system. You still have to ride. You still gotta jump on this thing and actually ride it, man. All right, let's loop around and we'll go back down that twisty road and we'll give it a shot. I think where this would be nice too is, you know, if you just, I mean, you shouldn't be whacking the throttle open, but if you hit like a puddle or something, or, you know, like, it's being so gentle with that initial throttle pickup that it makes it virtually impossible to have the tire slide super aggressively and make you crash. I feel like it's, it feels impossible right now with this motorcycle. If you have any modicum of an idea of how to operate a motorcycle, this bike with all the settings turned up and in raid mode, it kind of feels like it's a no-brainer, you know? I wonder what it would be like on track in rain mode. Because it's still pretty fast. Like I said, it feels like an R6. It's not slow at all. Got a bunch of traffic in front of us, so it probably will not be possible. It's wild because it's still a fast bike. Like, nothing prevents this from being a fast as shit motorcycle. Even rain mode, even whatever, like, it's still an S1000RR. So if you're thinking about buying this, and I would say unwisely considering this maybe as like a second motorcycle, maybe you got your Ninja 400, then you're like, screw it, I'm gonna get an S1000RR and chuck it in rain mode. Think about how valuable your life is, because this will kill you. Yes, it will be gentle, and you know, it won't just immediately yeet you to the moon like a mid-2000s R1 would, but it will still yeet you to the moon. This is still a super fast motorcycle, and I think the whole concept of, bro, put it in D mode, put it in rain mode, bro, I just think it's so unwise. It's so unwise to do that. I just don't think that that's going to be a good idea at all. This is still wickedly fast. This is still, like, just way faster than a Ninja 400. Oh my god. What I think is neat, though, is that it's definitely an intelligent rain mode. It's not a rain mode that's just going to give you 100 horsepower and that's it. Like, this thing genuinely rips to the top end in rain mode, as long as you have it pointed straight. That was so interesting. I did not think that that's what that would be like on this bike, honestly. That was way different than I thought. Interesting results on today's video. So, yeah, TLDR, if you're buying an S1000RR and you're just going to put it in rain mode, quote unquote, it's still fast as shit. Don't do that. Get a normal motorcycle. Get something that's going to fit your skill and experience level. Don't try to just jump up the ladder because you think you're better than everyone else. Take your time. Learn the craft, you know? If you started on a smaller bike, a 650 or a 400, go to the middleweights. Get a Duke 990, get an F900 XR or whatever the middleweight BMW is. Get an MT09. It's still going to be plenty big of a jump, and it's going to feel really fast. But I really think these bikes, third motorcycle, minimum. This is not a second bike, certainly not a first bike, despite the rain modes, despite all the fancy stuff that it has. So, yeah, that's your Papa Yam's opinion on the BMW S1000RR's rain mode. Remember, this is a giveaway motorcycle. The patron saint of Yams have come together, and we have provided this for you. Click that link down below to yammynoob.co. Become a member. Pool all of your entries. assign them to the S1000RR, and whenever we get a new giveaway, you can keep those entries and then keep putting them towards the new bikes. It's a fun way to get involved with everything that we're doing here at Yami Noob. I really appreciate it. You guys take care. I love you. Ride safe. I'll catch you in the next one.
Keep watching Yami Noob.